I still work out 45 minutes a day in the morning and 45 minutes at night, and do my cardiovascular training in the morning, and then in the evening I do the weight training.
Right.
Yeah, and I do that every day.
How is that any different from, say, 5 or 10 years ago?
No, it's kind of like eating and sleeping. It's always the same, right? So it's the same with exercising. You just do it every day, and you don't think much about it. You just get out of bed and just do it. And the same is also before I have dinner at night. I just do it.
What is your exercise routine, though, in those 45 minutes?
Bicycle riding, elliptical, stairmaster, treadmill. It's a combination of different exercises for doing the cardiovascular training. And then when I do weight training, then it depends what muscle group that you're training. It's just 100 different exercises.
You met Amir Khan yesterday. You went to his
Yes.
room. Did you like him?
Yes, very much so. I think that he's a very talented guy, and he's one of those that has proven that he can do both, can win a lot of awards and also make a lot of money and be very successful financially at the box office. So that's a very nice combination, but also a very likable man.
Do you know much about Bollywood?
Not as much as probably you.
But have you watched any of our movies?
Yeah, I watched some of the movies, but I mean, not many come over to the United States, yeah.
Do you remember any offhand?
No, but I do remember that they are very good and that they have a lot of quality.
You met Rajinikanth on your trip last time. What did you think of him?
It was nice. It was a nice meeting.
And you're definitely not going back to politics.
No, I work within politics because our institute, the Schwarzenegger Institute at the University of Southern California, deals with issues and with policy and specifically with environment and stem cell research and good government practice and political reform and all those things. But I think that I can have more effect from the outside through the institute and through our international environmental organization than being inside politics. And so I'm trying to be engaged and try to improve the situation like environmentally all over the world. But for that you don't have to be a politician to do that.
But the fact that you can't run for president, America is such a multicultural society and there are so many first-generation immigrants. Does that seem silly to you at all that you can't run for president?
No, I don't find it silly because there's a reason why the Constitution is written the way it's written. And I think that America just didn't want to have, when they became independent, to have the Brits come over and to start running for president. So I'm sure there's reasons like that. Now I think the law is a little bit outdated, but the reason why you never hear me really complaining about it is because I feel like I have achieved everything that I have achieved in America because of America. So this is the only thing that I can't do. So why complain about the only thing that I can't do, right? So, I mean, that's just the way it is. But I think that one should make an effort to change that law down the line, and so that foreign-born can also run for president.
What is a man like you who's achieved so much in life? What do you do next?
Well, what I'm doing right now, kind of a fight to create a cleaner environment. That's very important to me because I think that we have the responsibility to hand our land, the world, over to the next generation in better shape than we inherited it. And right now, that's not what we're doing. Right now, we are creating a worse situation, and somehow even an irreversible situation if we continue on with our pollution and if we don't find solutions. And so I would do everything that I can in my power to travel around the world through our organizations, through the R20, and to promote the idea of subnational governments, cities, states, and provinces, and individuals, and companies, and financial institutions, and academic institutions, everyone working together to create a cleaner environment and to stop using the fossil fuels and to reduce and to build more renewable energy and to come up with a new energy source.
Well, I read that George Clooney is apparently planning to run for governor. What do you think of that?
I think that anyone should give it a shot. It doesn't matter to me if it is an actor or if it is a coal miner or if it is, an athlete or a journalist. I mean, I think that if people are passionate about being a public servant, and if they're passionate and have a very clear vision of where they want to go and how they want to improve the state or the country, I think they should jump into that. It's a very interesting arena to be in. It's a lot of hard work, but it is fun to serve the people.
With George Clooney in particular?
Say again?
George Clooney in particular?
As I said, anyone, including him.
Well, you still have an accent, and I've always wondered whether you've held on to it because it's charming, or did you at some point try very, very hard to lose it?
No, I never learned or tried very hard to lose it. I always felt like the most important thing is that you're understandable. But I did not really work on losing the accent. I worked on it sometimes to have different accents. Depends on what the movie is, but not to lose it now. I think it's part of the Austrian charm.
Right. You were advised to change your last name when you entered Hollywood, but you held on to it. How difficult was it to hold on to it?
Well, it was difficult. I remember when I did the first movie, Hercules in New York, they changed the name to Arnold Strong. And I didn't even have a choice. All of a sudden I saw in a poster Arnold Strong. But then when I got further down the line in the movie business, I made sure that I made it always clear contractually that I want to keep my name Arnold Schwarzenegger. And I felt like if people could remember Gina Lola Brigida and names like that, then they will also remember Schwarzenegger. And the other idea was that if it's hard for you to remember a name, then it's also very hard for you to forget the name.
Right. Well, what does it take to, become as successful as you did and do everything that was possible to be done? What does it take?
Well, I think that the number one thing is you have to have a very clear vision, a very clear goal of where you want to go, because only then you will get there. You can have the best airplane or the best ship in the world, but if the captain doesn't know where to go, he will just drift around. If the pilot does not know where to go, he will just drift around with his plane. So I think the key thing is that we know where we're going and that you're very passionate about that, that you see it always in front of you, the goal. And the other thing that's important is that you got to shoot for the top. You got to go and really have big goals and think big, because then you're going to get big. Then you're going to go and achieve big things. That is the most important thing. We don't achieve big things by accident. So shoot for the top, shoot for the sky, shoot for the for the stars. The other thing is that you got to work your butt off. If you think that you're going to go and accomplish something really special and be the best in anything in the world, and you think you can do it without working, you make a big mistake. Because no matter what I did, if it was in bodybuilding or in acting or if it is in the political arena, it always took a lot of work. And you got to put out, and you got to, sometimes make a lot of sacrifices. Notice, if you're not willing to work hard, forget about it. So there's another rule that is very important. I think another one is don't be afraid to fail. Because if you're afraid to fail, then you're always holding yourself back because you're afraid that if you go all out, you may fail. Well, in weightlifting, we learned that very quickly. The only way you could break a record is if you're willing to fail. That's when you put on more weight, you try it, sometimes you would not be able to lift it, which has happened to me many times, but eventually, when you train hard enough, you will lift it. So don't be afraid to fail. I mean, how far can you fall? Here's the ground, that's as far as you can fall. So you get, winners always get up, dust themselves off, and move on. So those are the kind of the basic rules. And another very important thing that I always tell people is don't listen to the naysayers. Because there's always people out there that will tell you that you will not be able to do that, forget it, it's a stupid dream that you have, or a crazy vision and those. Don't listen to the naysayers.